exactly what happened, what played out here, but we do know that this comes at a moment of extreme division in this country. And we know that law enforcement officials in Washington have been warning of potential politically motivated attacks.
Absolutely, that's something that law enforcement officials talk about.
Secret Service, Russia's former President Trump, on stage at rally.
With FBI, with Secret Service, but also at the local level. You mentioned we are just on the eve of the Republican National Convention. This is such a high-stakes, high-profile security moment. We know that law enforcement is anxious about those sort of flagpole moments, those political moments that get so many eyeballs. They set up, huge security perimeters to try to keep those events safe. This was a high-profile political rally, but you're right, it comes at a time when law enforcement is so worried that the division in our politics has led to the possibility of violence, as scary as that is.
All right, Mary Alice, stand by. Thank you very much. I want to go to John Carl, our chief Washington correspondent. John is in Milwaukee, the site of what is to be the Republican National Convention this week. John, what are you hearing from your sources?
They sniped John too?
John Carl, are you able to hear me?
They must have sniped him. He ain't responding.
All right, we've lost John for a moment. We're going to try to get him back. In the meantime, let's go back to Rachel Scott, who's still there on the scene. And Rachel, one thing that surprises me to some degree about looking at your live shot location, there still seem to be people gathering in that area. Did they not evacuate the venue right after the president or former president was escorted away?
Yeah, this is certainly clearing out now, and I'm just going to step aside to give you sort of a lay of the land of what we're seeing here. So if we can just push in on the podium right there, you can see that the sign has actually fallen off of the podium. This is where the former president was surrounded by Secret Service agents as he was then rushed off of this stage after we heard these popping sounds. And I want our camera to just veer here to the left. You can already see here, you see law enforcement officials right now, they're putting up this caution tape around this area. This is very much an active scene at this moment. You see law enforcement officials, they are taking notes. We're starting to see the presence of law enforcement officials increase as this area has now started to be cleared. Of course, you can see the amount of chairs that have been tossed and turned over. It just shows you how chaotic these moments were. I cannot stress this enough. To hear those popping sounds and then all of a sudden to just see people just dying.
Check him out,
people yelling, get down, cover your head. We did not know necessarily what those were. There are photos of the former president covering his ear. He did, as I mentioned before, after he was surrounded by Secret Service agents, he did get up, he raised his fist in the air. It was a sign to his supporters that were gathering here that he was okay. His supporters then cheered. But I can tell you there were several minutes after this where the crowd just didn't necessarily know what to do as the former president was rushed off of the stage. They didn't know whether or not they should quickly leave, rush out of here, whether or not they were safe, whether or not they could stay in place. The rally obviously officially ended after that, and then that's when we started to see people stream out of this area. Many members gathering here today, visibly shaken by what occurred. We are now seeing a helicopter that appears to be landing closer to where we are here at this rally. Just tense and chaotic moments that played out here in a situation that is still developing and unfolding as we still await details on more what happened.
Rachel Scott Forrest, thank you so much. I do want to ask you quickly before I let you go here. You've been to so many of these different Trump rallies over the years. Security is obviously incredibly tight. Tens of thousands of people go to these things. Can you just talk about what it's typically like when they search people as they go in?
Yeah. Absolutely, Whit. So in order to get into a rally with the former president, you do have to go through a Secret Service check. So you walk through a metal detector, similar to what you would walk through if you were at the airport, if you were about to board a flight. You are searched by Secret Service through a metal detector. Secret Service then goes through your bag as well to make sure that you do not have any items that are barred. Typically, people aren't even allowed to bring in large backpacks or large items as well, because this is an event with the former president. Members of the press are allowed to bring our laptops stops in, but I can tell you that Secret Service takes this very seriously. They do screen every single person that enters these rallies, and because of that, the lines often get very, very long as they are waiting to get people cleared in order to enter these rallies. Security is utmost important for the Secret Service. We have seen that in every single rally that we have gone into. We've seen people be turned away maybe because they brought something that they weren't allowed to have, or maybe they had to leave something with Secret Service. They could not enter the rally. So they are diligently checking every member that enters these Trump rallies. Clearly, we do not know exactly what happened here today. We are still learning details, and of course, we'll bring those to you as we have it. But one thing I can tell you is there are definitely security precautions underway for anyone that wants to enter a rally or an event with the former president with.
Stand by for us. I do want to point out this photograph right here that we've been showing with former President Donald Trump pumping his fist. If you look closely, there does also appear to be some blood trickling down over his right ear. Again, we don't have confirmation on exactly what happened. We're waiting for more information from officials. But there is that photograph, and you see the former president's face right there as Secret Service escorted him off the stage, off the podium, into the back of a SUV, and then out of the area. And you see him, as the incident happened, reaching for his right ear. Let's bring in John Carl, our chief Washington correspondent, if we can get back to him. He's in Milwaukee, the site of the Republican National Convention. And John, I understand you were with Republican Party officials as this event unfolded.
I was on the floor here of the convention where they're preparing. This is the site where Donald Trump is to officially become the Republican nominee next week. The convention set to start on Monday. I was actually with the chairman of the Republican Party, Michael Whatley, as this news happened of the shots ringing out, and he very quickly rushed off, took a phone call, very hurriedly rushed off the floor. Obviously, a shocking development.
There's going to be complete chaos real soon.
All right, John, thank you. I do want to go back to Rachel Scott, still on the scene, but I understand they're escorting the rest of the media and everyone out of the area. Rachel, what more can you tell us?
Yes, and we will join you once again when we get out of this area. Right now, Secret Service has told everyone in this area that they do need to leave. We can only take what we can carry. Everything else sort of needs to be left behind. They're closing off this area that you're seeing. I'm gonna get off the air now and escort out, and I will get back on with you when I can.
Rachel, thank you again for your reporting, and we're so glad that you and the rest of the team are safe. Again, this is that video. This is that moment. Former President Trump pumping his fist to the cheers of the crowd there in Butler, Pennsylvania. I do want to mention again, because this is all coming at an event in Pennsylvania that was supposed to come before the Republican National Convention. All eyes on the former president about his potential running mate. That decision was expected any day now, and we're hearing from some of these hopefuls. VP hopeful Senator J.D. Vance took to X calling for people to pray for Trump and everyone at the rally. He says, quote, "Everyone join me in praying for our President Trump and everyone there. I hope everyone is okay." We also heard from Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who is also on the short list to be a potential running mate. He tweeted, quote, "Praying for President Trump and all those attending the rally in Pennsylvania today." Let's go back to John Carl in Milwaukee. John, we're still getting some of these photographs coming in. Are you getting any more information about what actually happened?
No more information on what happened. I can tell you that officials here are scrambling to find out more. You mentioned that this comes